Well, hello, good evening and welcome. We're here once again for the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show. It's our pre-Wembley special. Yes, you may be thinking, hang on, you've been talking community rugby all year. What are you going on about Wembley for? Well, that's because officially, or maybe unofficially, we've got two community games that are happening at Wembley Stadium on Saturday. So first of all, we have the Inspire Sport Year 7 Champion Schools final between Bedford High School of Lee and Archbishop Sentamu School of Hull. And we've also got the Women's Challenge Cup final that will feature St Helens and Leeds. Tell you what, it's going to be a cracking day. As ever, my name's Dave Parkinson. I'm sat across from my co-presenter, Steve Beach. Steve, I'm not rubbing it in. I have come to your house where we're recording in a leopard print top.
I'm just glad this is not a podcast that you can watch because he knocked at the door, thought it was Derek. But he has managed to get his way in. Well, as he says, certainly it's leading up to a big week, and it's, as you say, it's not the professional game that we're focusing on. It is the community game, and we're very excited. And I've been just testing a few things out, ready for the weekend. And
we've been tying the cans together, haven't we? We've been doing the old test. You may have even had the chance listening to, if you caught us earlier on, actually pressing some buttons and going live, because we were testing to see whether or not we could get all the equipment working, because I need that drum roll. We've not got a drum roll.
We haven't got the drum roll.
Have we got some other sound effect you can give me?
Not really. Oh, just hang on.
That'll certainly do, right? Because the news that we have is... Could we do it again? Yes, that's it. Little drum roll. So we're going to be broadcasting from Wembley Stadium on Saturday, aren't we?
Live from Wembley.
Exclusive. There's nobody else that is going to be offering audio commentary on the Champion Schools final. But yes, I'll be there. Dave Parkinson with his headset, getting all excited.
And I'll be back in the studio listening just in case, and be texting him on the phone just to message him on the phone just to keep him in line. But
yes,
I'm sure we've done a test and it's worked really, really good. So fingers crossed, everything should be okay down there.
Yeah, at risk of sounding like that old show that used to be on, we hope it'll be all right on the night.
Or even the afternoon.
Or even the morning.
Yeah.
It's an early one. 10 past 10 kickoff.
That is an early one, isn't it?
It is an early one. It is an early one. I tell you what, by the time that 1895 Cup final kicks off, the AB Sundex 1895 Cup final, at 5:30, it's a real feast of rugby league, isn't it?
That is a long day, isn't it? That is a long day.
And I'm up to 115 games for the season now. So that'll take me, up to 119. In fact, there's a couple of other games this week that I may yet find my way to from a National Conference League point of view.
Yeah, because there's some during the week as well, aren't there?
There is. So we'll bring you all up to speed with that. But yeah, first of all, I did actually want to talk a little bit about this, Champion Schools final, because I think it's worthwhile noting it's something that's been going on for many, many moons, isn't it? And although a lot of people will think, well, the highlight's the actual Challenge Cup, for me and for a lot of youngsters, it's this earlier game, isn't it? This earlier game is a tremendous one. So it's the Stephen Mullany Memorial Boys Year 7 Champion Schools final. It's been taken back to Wembley, having also taken place at St James's Park, and it'll feature the Archbishop Sentamu from the Preston Road estate in Hull nonetheless, and they'll be taking on Bedford High School of certain Lee vintage, it must be said.
Now, there's the thing, Parker.
Yeah.
We've got, in the actual final itself, we've got a team from Hull and a team from Lee.
Yeah.
And then in the boys' final, though, we've got a team from Hull and a team from Lee. Has that ever happened before?
You couldn't write this stuff, could you? Well, I have been trying to do a little bit of research, and I have to admit, until last night, no one could give me any sort of answer on it. But I have found out that there was a Wakefield Schools year group, which took on a Hull year group back in 1986 when Castleford took on Hull Kingston Rovers in the Challenge Cup final. So I think that was the last time that it happened. And perhaps the only time before.
Obviously, it's I presume from the vicinity of where Castleford and Wakefield are. They would come under the same banner from a school's point of view.
They would. They come under the same. Yeah. It's the same boundary. It's like people saying that Lee's just a part of Wigan.
Ooh. Just opened a can of worms there, mate.
I tell you what, I've started my twitch off again. I've started my nervous twitch off. I can't believe that I've actually mentioned that. So I believe that is where it actually came from. If someone out there suggests that it's any different, please let me know.
Yeah.
Because no one else has been able to confirm it. It's just from an unverified conversation. But I thought, well, I'll go with it because I like to get things out in the open, and obviously I'm hoping that somebody who listens to this will come back and put me right if I've gone wrong. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic occasion. Yeah. Both of these sides have been in real good form actually when they've reached this stage. So for Archbishop Sentamu Academy, they beat Cowley in the first round by 16 points to 10. They then beat Garth Olwg from Wales, 30 points to 14 in the quarter-final. Stop laughing at me, Steve.
No, I've been reading that all day, and I thought, I'm giving that one to Parky.
And in the semi-final, which was played on a neutral venue, it was the Outwood Academy from Haydock, who Archbishop Sentamu Academy just got over the top of by 8 points to 7. Sounds like that was a thrilling game, that one. For Bedford High School, they travelled... Well, notably, they've been away in all of their matches. So they travelled to Ysgwyl Glantaf, also from Wales. They won by 10 points to 6 in the first round. Then in the quarter-final, they travelled over to Castleford Academy. Now, Castleford Academy produced so many winning sides across these champion schools finals. Certainly in the ones that I've had the pleasure of commentating on over the last few years, they have absolutely dominated. So for Bedford High School to get over the top of them, absolutely tremendous. They beat them by 20 points to 4. And then in the semi-final, they beat St Peter's Catholic High, did Bedford High School, by 28 points to 18 to qualify for this final at Wembley. It's been a brilliant season, to be honest, for Bedford High School. They're on for an unprecedented treble as far as the North West side is concerned, because not only did they win the Wigan Schools competition, they won the Lancashire Cup, and now they stand... up against Archbishop Sentamu Academy between that and greatness and coming back with an unprecedented treble. So it's going to be a fantastic occasion. The kick-off gets underway at 10:10. Unfortunately, I've seen the tickets, I've seen all the press and everything, and it suggests that gates at Wembley Stadium are only opening at 11, which would mean that for the bulk of parents and people connected with both of those school sides, they won't get to see the game. They might get to see, isn't it? They might get to see the presentation at the end of it, but they won't get to see all of the action that preceded it.
I mean, obviously, Stephen Mullaney Memorial Year Final, Year 7 Boys Final. It's a prestigious event. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event for young rugby league players. And you're playing at Wembley Stadium. One of the things you want to do when you're playing at Wembley Stadium, you want to play hopefully in front of some sort of crowd. So it's absolutely amazing to me that that's the case. I hope we're wrong. I hope they do manage to get in. But yeah, it's just strange. And it's been going on for quite a while, this competition, hasn't it, Parker?
It has. It's been up and running in one format or other as this Year 7 Boys Final since like the mid 1980s, to be fair. So it's got some pedigree. We've had the likes of Kevin Sinfield, Dennis Betts, Bobby Goulding, and Phil Clark that have taken part and then gone on to have really impactful professional careers off the back of this, and it's inspired them. And certainly I was watching a couple of YouTube videos, and there's a couple of fellas that were named player of the match in previous years that have gone on and are now starting to make a mark in the professional ranks. So, it is one of those where it can start and really, really inspire people to greater things.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we've got to mention it's supported by the Inspire Sports, which is a charity that uses sport to inspire young children, which is obviously, this sort of competition. And it's not just this one. There's a range of competitions which include both boys and girls, aren't there?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And as I say, I was fortunate enough to be asked to go and commentate on the games up at Newcastle at the start of July, which were the finals of like the Year 7 girls, Year 8 and Year 9 girls and boys, the Year 10 boys as well.
Yeah.
So, fantastic. And the Year 10 girls final was actually played as a precursor to the Magic Weekend as well.
Which is great, and that's the type of things that should be happening at the end of the day. These finals should be attached into big events like that. Obviously, this is in at Wembley for the Challenge Cup final. I do hope the gates are open, and at least that people from the schools and the families, etc., can get in to see these lads play, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, but we'll have all the coverage of it, providing that I can get everything working when I get to Wembley. Yep. So there is a little bit of a proviso on that, but do keep an eye open on our Twitter account. Yeah. So at 13ProAmRL, because it'll tell you on there when we're going live, won't it?
Yeah, and we'll try and put it out to what all of obviously the schools themselves will tweet them out. We'll send it through to their Facebook page, etc. Then hopefully they can share it out among people, then you can listen along.
So we're all very excited, to get that opportunity. And who knows, it could be the start of something good for us moving forward, couldn't it?
It certainly could.
If that works at that venue, then there's no reason why we couldn't be turning up at some of these games that we talk about on a regular occasion.
That's correct, yeah.
Actually offering some sort of coverage, and chatting about it, rather than just getting post-match reaction like we've got a lot of the time. Talking about post-match reaction, we have got a little bit of that. So I was at the National Conference League game, the big one between Rochdale Mayfield and West Hull. So later on in the show, we're going to be hearing from the West Hull assistant coach, Mark Crowther. So he'll be giving us his thoughts on that particular performance. And we've also got an interview coming up as well with Paul Couch, who reveals that he's stepping down as the coach of Loch Lane at the end of the season. He is continuing his role with the England Community Lions, and in fact, towards the end of this campaign, that's being expanded to taking an under-23s. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that as
That's
well.
That's a biggie for me.
We've got a squad to go through as well with that, which I'm, again, pretty excited by, because I've seen a lot of these guys play before. So once you've got on the Parky radar, you never leave. You never leave. It's like Hotel California. Where do you want to start, though, Steve?
Well, we can start, obviously, with the NCL, because from my point of view as well, I had a couple of games that I was going to go to. I had penciled in, as they say, at the weekend. And when I left my drive, instead of driving straight on, I was going to go over to watch Burton Wood versus Hydepool Tigers in the North West Men's League. Then I suddenly thought, well, do you know what? I'm going to turn left here. So I turned left and I went down to watch Woolston Rovers play Normanton Knights in the NCL. Division 2, I think it is. Do you know what? One of the best games I've seen as a neutral watching an NCL game. It was absolutely fantastic.
You've done the equivalent of a Rugby League Tinder there, haven't you?
It was a swiped left instead of right.
Swiped left instead of right.
Yeah. And it worked. And I've got a match report on that, which I'll bring to you. Okay,
so let us start by looking at the scoreboard from last week. I'll give you a bit of a roundup of the game that I was at as well. So let us start with the game that happened on Friday evening. So last Friday night, Ellenborough Rangers, they had a comfortable win against Seaton Rangers. It's been one of those seasons for Seaton that were, they've competed to the best of their ability, but unfortunately they've been found lacking this year. They've been down on numbers, they've had to use a lot of youngsters. The season will probably stand them in good stead moving forward. I know that they have lost a number of players to the professional game. And if you heard our interview with Jordan Weir last week, he reflected on that, to be honest, about Seaton Rangers. For Ellenborough Rangers, brand new to the National Conference, they're a friend of the show already, with the way that they've been and the information that they provided throughout the season. But they had a comfortable 38-6 victory. So there were tries there from Hoyles, who also kicked 5 goals. Goulding scored 2 tries. The free-scoring Alstrom grabbed 2 tries. And Ossel and Todd were the other try scorers. For Seaton Rangers, all their points coming courtesy of Brian, but they were well out of that game from half-time onwards when they trailed by 22-0. Into the Premier Division on Saturday, and Hunslet ARLFC were given the fright of their lives, so they climbed into an 18-0 half-time advantage thanks to tries from Jordan Gale, the veteran Squires, and Tyler Dargan, who's been in similar free-flowing and free-scoring form this season.
Yeah.
Gale kicked 3 goals as well, so 18-0. You're thinking they've got this one in the bag against Lee Miners Rangers. Lee Miners Rangers, they really give it to him in the second half, to be fair, scoring tries from Williamson, Flannery, and an 80-metre spectacular score from Noah Lancelot.
Why does that not surprise me?
He doesn't score unless it's spectacular, to be honest, does Noah. I've seen the video of it, and they give him the ball, quick ball, and he's 20 metres from his own line.
Yeah.
And the speed that he changes direction to cut inside and blasts past 2 defenders and then into the backfield, and then the cheeky so-and-so really slows down when he gets to the fullback and speeds away from him into the corner. It is a glorious score. If you get the chance, go and check out, if you put in live rugby on YouTube, and you'll find the brilliant Terry Gorman's video collection there of all the games that he's broadcast and put forward, you know. So I know Terry very well, and he has captured all of this game in all of its glory, warts and all. So if there was a send-off, it's on there. If there's a sin binning, it's on there. Unlike other clubs that may or may not edit this footage out of their videos that they put online, looking at no one in particular but glancing over in the Yorkshire direction. Yes, so the final score in this one, it was basically those 3 goals from Jordan Gale that decided it. So unfortunately, from a Miners' point of view, young Sam Pilkington could only kick 1 of 3. I've got to say though, all 3 of them were from out wide. They were really difficult, to be fair. So Lee Miners Rangers 14, Hunslet ARLFC 18. Elsewhere, Siddle defeated Kells by 48-4. I can't believe on the run of results that Siddle are on at the moment, that a few weeks ago we were talking of them about potentially getting relegated.
Yeah.
They've won the last 4 games.
Well, we said, didn't we, at the beginning of the season, that they were not the usual Siddle that we're used to. They were floating a bit like Thatch Wheat in that respect, you know. But some, as you said, they've put a good string of results together.
So Hosty, Ackroyd, Lewis and Horner scoring tries, McCallum grabbing 2, Brown getting 2, the veteran Blackburn kicking 8 goals. I'm not sure whether he'll like me referring to him as a veteran, but he has been on these scoring charts for Siddle for an awful number of years now. Kells got the 1 try through Culneen, but they trailed by 24-4 at half-time, and Siddle getting the job done in the second half. Over at Thatto Heath Crusaders, they were deadly in the first half against Wigan St Pat's. They led by 22-4, eventually eased their way to a 32-14 victory that just edges Wigan St Pat's closer to that relegation door. So Crusaders scoring tries through Ray and Jones, who also kicked 4 goals. Saunders grabbed 2 tries. Dickinson scored 2 as well. For Pats, there was 2 from Brad Smith and Braddock, who I'm pleased to see back out there on the field. He's a right character. It was over in Serbia with him a few years ago now, where he was playing for Lancashire. Good bloke, good fella. Nice to see him back in a Wigan St Pat's shirt. Thomas kicking the only goal there, and it finished 32-14. Over at Wharfbrow Hornets, there was one heck of a scramble in this game. It finished Wharfbrow Hornets 28, Loch Lane 24. So Lucock scored a hat-trick, Moore and Weatherall scored the other tries for Wathbrow Hornets. Walker Taylor kicking 4 goals. Meanwhile for Lock Lane, 2 tries from Price. A try from Turner, who also added 2 goals. Martin with the other score, 2 goals from the boot of Fozzard as well. And they had to do a bit of a comeback as well, Lock Lane, because they actually trailed by 18 points to 6 at half time. And then we spoke to the coach Josh Mortimer last week. And since I've stopped following York Acorn around, they've gone back on the winning run. I'm happy to reveal. They've defeated Hull Dockers by 74 points to 0. Now, 10 getting 3 tries. Doubles coming the way of Gallagher, Matt Chilton and Porter. Myers, Parker, Hunt and Burns also going over. Conroy kicking 9 goals, Matt Chilton kicking 2. At half time there, it was 28 points to 0 and York Acorn getting the job done. So certainly that was really interesting. So the game I was at was over at Rochdale Mayfield. Now they went really well in the last 20 minutes of the game last week against York Acorn to win the game by 26 points to 14. They were up against West Hull this time round. West Hull, they've been in fantastic form basically since they first featured on the Our League app at the start of June. Could they make it 9 wins in a row? You bet they could. So West Hull maintained their superb form during the second half of the season with a well-deserved win at Rochdale Mayfield in the latest game broadcast on the Our League app. It was West Hull's 9th in a row and keeps them hot on the heels of Hunslet ARLFC at the summit of the Premier Division. 2 tries from centre Jack Watts and 5 goals from second row Ryan Wilson helped the visitors get past the challenge of Rochdale Mayfield, who scored 3 tries of their own, including a sparkling team effort finished off by Jack McConaughey. The first 10 minutes were fierce, with West Hull winning the battle for territory before Watts found himself in enough space on the left to score. Minutes later, the excellent Ryan Steen released a perfect pass that saw prop Oscar Ellerington charge over Mayfield's Jordan Parr to claim West Hull's second score, and 2 goals from Wilson helped the visitors to a 0-12 lead. Mayfield struck back with an acrobatic dive into the right corner from Christian McVeigh, but Parr was unable to convert, and the host cause wasn't helped when the sparky Dex Sheridan was forced from the field with what looked like a hamstring issue. At the other end, athletic Elliot Jones, who represented the England Community Lions last year as a standoff, is playing fullback at the moment, and he zipped his way through. He was excellent throughout the game at fullback. He skipped past 4 defenders before grounding the ball for his 11th try of the NCL season, and Wilson nudged over his 3rd goal to make it 4 points to 18. To their credit, Mayfield struck again before half-time after James McDade and McConaughey combined on a break before Harry Sheridan kicked wide. Wayne English collected, Dakota Tolhurst followed him and offloaded back to English, who scrambled over in the left corner for his 10th try of the season. Parr couldn't convert and the sides went in at half-time with West Hull leading by 8 points to 18. The visitors kept the scoreboard ticking with a 53rd minute Wilson penalty, but Mayfield were now enjoying the better of the game. Try as they might though, they were unable to get through a resolute defence despite this period of dominance, and again West Hull elected to go for goal from a penalty after 67 minutes, which extended their advantage out to 8 points to 22. Mayfield's persistence did pay off with a quality team try to McConaughey after Devlin Long put McDade in space and McVeigh and Luke Foden combined to move the ball inside for the second row forward to dot down under the posts. Long converted to give them hope at 14-22, but he was sin-binned in the closing stages after questioning the decisions of referee Denton Arnold. West Hull decided the contest late on when a measured kick from Josh Wood was collected by Watts for him to beat a scrambling McVeigh to the line. Although Wilson couldn't goal, West Hull celebrated the 14 points to 26 win. And I've got to say as well, Steve, that's the second week in succession. This is the second time it's happened to me this season where I've got the same score line repeated in the next game.
Really?
Yeah. So I had a 17-16 and a 17-16 earlier in the season, and I've had a 14-26 and a 14-26. Yeah. So who knows what the games I go to this week will end up, to be fair. But what a game. Really, really enjoyed this. West Hull, they're in some superb form at the moment. They've got a guy playing at standoff for them called Josh Wood, who is such a clever player.
Yeah.
I've seen him play a lot at 9, to be honest, but he adapted to the halfback role with ease. And with Elliot Jones looking as classy as he is at fullback, unfortunately, another player that I mentioned really highly the last time that we spoke about Westhull in any great depth was Lazenby, the fullback, Jack Lazenby.
Yeah.
And he's injured his knee, so he's out for the remainder of the season. So it's a real loss that for Westhull. But Elliot Jones has stepped into that role, and I tell you what, he looks like he's playing fullback his entire career. He was superb.
Yeah, well, when you've got that sort of flexibility in players, certainly in the amateur game. I mean, the professional game is great because obviously, from a cost point of view, you don't have to fork out for another player. But I mean, obviously, that's a lot rarer in the community game. But if you have got somebody like that, like we always mention, certainly if you've got a good goal kicker, it's absolutely crucial and big bonus.
Well, that's also where Westhull are right on top of the game at the moment, because Ryan Wilson, he really misses. Some of those kicks that he got over were superb. He missed his last one, so he is human after all. But 5 from 6 on what was a grotty afternoon, as you know how varied that weather was on Saturday, with the breeze that was blowing across the ground, and then there was periods of the game where it was raining and kicking and handling was difficult. He was quality. In fact, it was a quality game when you give the conditions of playing, in a storm. Both sides were an absolute credit, and there is nothing that I've seen which suggests that there'll be anything but challengers for this National Conference League title come the end of the season. A real quality game, and I hope if you caught it on the Our League app that you enjoyed it as well. We did have a little issue where we had a couple of the numbers which would swap round again, but we managed to put that right in post-production, or certainly when I've come back.
I want to chat about that a little bit later, because I've got a theory on that. It might be just me being paranoid and jumping into conspiracy theories, but we'll have a chat about that.
Okay, well, no problem. Before we do get to that chat, however, let's get some post-match reaction from this game. And I caught up with Westhull's assistant coach, Mark Crowther. Started by asking him about the game and finished the interview by asking him about his involvement at the club. Okay, I'm with Mark Crowther. We're chatting in the aftermath of what I thought was a really decent dig from your boys and a good win down here at Rochdale Mayfield, 26 points to 14. How did the coach see it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough game. It was a tough game all the way through. We got a bit tired at the end, and a few mistakes coming into it at the end, but we just ground out a win, and in the end it was a fairly convincing win. We like to climb up the ladder, keep that second place, and keep in touch with Hunslet. So we keep going on.
I think crucially as well, you got so as you scored them couple of tries, a couple of belting tries at the start of the game as well, and then there was a period in the second half where they were on your line for basically 10 minutes, and you held them out, and every time you went back, you got penalties and kicked the penalty goals, and that seemed to have a deflating effect on Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, we do like to work on defence a lot, and we held strong on our line, and they're trying to push the ball out and chance of luck, and there was once or twice where they did lose the ball because our defence was fairly strong. Through the middle anyhow, maybe out wide it was a bit suspect now and then. I thought there was maybe a forward pass in there when they scored a try, but I thought it was a bit weak defence out on the edge. Late on type of thing.
But having said that, the rest of the game, you were tip-top in defence. I don't think you can fault anybody for effort there, can you?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the pack before, and I mean, I did say the pack is very, very good. You know, Ben Arbens, Scott Howlett and Ryan Wilson. I mean, I could go on and on. Jake Moore, the pack is very good. We stay strong in that middle, and people, they can't get through us most of the time because we worked on our defence. It is very good, to be fair.
And that was like Ben Arpen of last year, where he won the National Conference League Player of the Year. Really strong performance from him. But you mentioned Wilson as well, who's just kicking like a dream at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, Ben Arpen, he's one of our top players. Like you say, was NCL Player of the Year last year. But yeah, Ryan Wilson, again, if you'd have seen him score some tries last week against Loughborough, he was absolutely fantastic. Like I say, Josh Wood is the conductor of the team, and yeah, I mean, we're climbing up that ladder. Hopefully we can get that top spot, but yeah, it's one of them. We're probably staying to second place, but we are doing very well.
I know when we were talking before the game, and I said, well, the last time when you was on our league was when you started your run of wins. You're on our league again. You've now made it it must be 9-10 games now unbeaten. I mean, that's a heck of a great run. You're timing it just right, are you?
Yeah, like I say, Mark is a very good coach, and he's got them playing well. And you lads turning up on our league, we like to put a good performance on the TV, and I think we did today. I think it was a good performance. Like I say, I think the forwards went well. And long may it rain.
Well, hopefully not raining the way that it is doing on us at the minute.
True.
But just finally, before we finish, what's been your involvement at West Hull? How long have you been involved, and how have you ended up in this role doing what you're doing?
Well, I've been involved since 2006. My son actually plays in the Timber. He's working away at the moment. He got to 17, 18 years old, and then he went into the open age team. I got involved in 2014. And yeah, I'm still here now, and I'm really enjoying it, working with Mark and Glenn. Yeah, I didn't think I would be working in the first team, but I'm really enjoying it.
You couldn't ask for two better coaches to learn from, really, could you?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to Mark a lot, and Mark, I know I keep saying this, but Mark is a very, very good coach. He played at Hull FC, played at Widnes. He really does know his stuff. Technically, he is a very good player.
Mark, thank you for the insights, and I'll let you go and enjoy the win.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Cheers.
Absolutely fantastic, Steve, to hear a different voice. I mean, obviously they've got Mark Hewitt, who's been a long time first team coach there at West Hull. It would be fair to say that Mark isn't the most comfortable when it comes to media duties.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't want to put anyone under any undue pressure.
Not at all.
But fair play as well to Mark Crowther for stepping up, because I thought that was really good, that interview. Really enjoyed having a chat with him. Obviously we've had a chat with Glyn Jones in the past.
That's right, yeah.
And he swerved this one, but he's got a good reason. Because he's on holiday.
That's just so lame. Taking holidays during the peak time of the season.
But yeah, they're in some brilliant form at the moment, our West Hull. Do you want this discussion now, or shall I save it till...
Save it a little bit okay. When I've done my match review on the game I'm going to tell you about.
No problem. So, Division 1, what happened in this division? Well, Clot faced -4, Hewitt 36. So, the Villagers, they had a couple of tries from Richmond. Elliot, Dent, Sturdy, Briggs and Axe going over. Goal split between Elliot, who grabbed 3, and Sadler. Clot faced Miners scoring a single try from Taylor. They were trailing by 20 points to 0 at half time. They're a cracking side of Hewitt, and they just keep going from strength to strength. And in fact, there's one heck of a chase that's happening for the solitary promotion spot that is remaining, or the solitary automatic promotion spot. The first promotion spot, well, that's all been decided. West Bowling are the champions of National Conference League Division 1. We've talked about them so highly over the last couple of years. First of all, with Ryan Hunkin in charge, but this season, Dean Muir has got a lot more out of that squad, and he's got that consistency. You look at the record, they've won 16 out of 17 games, they've scored over 600 points, they've conceded less than 300 in all of those 17, and they were given a challenge in certain facets of the game by Pilkington Rex, there's no doubt about it, but they proved way too strong, did West Bowling, winning it by 40 points to 24. So the West bowling side, they had tries scored by Nick Fontaine, who grabbed 2, from Truman, who grabbed 1. Oliver Bartle, I can say he's a friend of the show because I remember him scoring a hat-trick earlier on in the season, and I had a chat with him, didn't I?
That's right, yeah.
So he scored 2 tries. Taylor also grabbed a couple of tries there. That's Lewis Taylor, by the way, with goal split between Williams, who kicked 5, Harry Williams, of course, and Wright, who kicked 1 from 2 attempts. There was a sin binning to block the copybook, however, of West's when Cousins found himself sin bin for tripping after 61 minutes. Rex, they were well served, particularly by the back row forward Andy Morris, who grabbed 2 tries. There was other scores from Ryan Stevens and Martin. Connick kicked 3 goals, and fullback Josh O'Connell kicked a goal, but ultimately they were a bit behind the 8 ball, were Pilkington Rex. And for me, I know it's still possible for them to escape relegation, but it's becoming a less and less chance week after week, isn't it?
It's becoming something of a Harry Houdini proportions now. It is. It's very, very difficult. To be fair, we look at the team that they've got, their squad, and we know lots of their players because they've been with the club and in that team for a while. Mm-hmm. So obviously, the getting of an older flavour, as you might say. So it's time to try and get some of the younger ones in there. So they're in a bit of a transition as well over the next, certainly next season or so.
One side that has gone through a bit of a transition, they got up into the Premier Division last year and were also relegated with Pilkington Rex. That's Egremont Rangers, but they have found a real level of form. And I'm looking at the scoring list. They're the top scorers in this Division 1 with 638 points from 18 games. They were in the points again against Alton Raiders, who were in the first, I'd say, 8 or 9 weeks of the season. They looked, Alton, like they were going to have a real promotion challenge. Yeah. They were the early pace setters. You're quite right there, Steve. Since then, they've found a little bit of inconsistency has crept in, so they've slipped down the table, but they're still at the moment in one of the promotion playoff positions. But Egremont Rangers having way too much for them, winning by 40 points to 10. And Matt Busher scoring a try, Appleby scoring, Elwood, Conway and Aaron Turnbull going over. Krellin also scoring twice, with Tyson kicking 6 goals. They've had a bit of an extra fillip over the last week or two of Egremont Rangers. So whilst Millham have been catching the headlines for the overseas signings, Egremont, they've managed to coax Mark Tyson back up the coast. Yeah. Now, I toured Fiji with Mark back in 2018. He's a top fella, a real cracking centre. I think he did a couple more seasons NCL and then had to go at semi-professional rugby league up at Barrow and proved successful in the team that went up from League One into the Championship. So that's a great re-signing for them, isn't it? I remember someone of his experience down there.
Yeah, I remember when I was speaking to John Wells when they played Clotface, and he mentioned Tyson. He said it was great for it to get him into the squad.
But he's got a couple of brothers as well, to be fair, So I know they've been working on that for a few weeks. But Mark coming back there. Alton Raiders in this game, they scored tries from Powell and Holdsworth, Williamson kicking a goal. 40 points to 10, the final score. There was a real close run thing at Introse Bridge. So Skirler just holding on to a 26-18 advantage. And from the look of this one, all the points look like they were scored in the first half. So defence is definitely on top in that second half then.
They didn't turn out in the second half.
So Butler going over for a try for Introse Bridge. Harry Penny claiming 2, one of those heroes of Italy last year. And Rugby kicking 3 goals for Skirler. They had 2 tries from Thompson, One each from Oliver, who always finds himself on the try-scoring list as Oliver. Dibble and Livingston with the other tries. Gilbert kicking 3 goals. And in the outstanding fixture that we haven't talked about from that division at the moment, Stanley 54, Thornhill Trojans 18. Yes, Thornhill Trojans are relegated. Yes, they've conceded over 650 points, but you've still got to do the job, and Stanley did just that. Tries from Adams, Phipps, Salkeld, McGuigan, Selby and Ruan. 2 each from Peel and Welton. Butterill kicking 7 goals. And for the Trojans, Mitchell, Llewellyn and Hickling, their try scorers. R. Mitchell kicking 3 goals. They trailed by 18 points to 6 at half time, and although the attack improved in the second half, unfortunately the defence let them down, and it finished Stanley 54, Thornhill Trojans 18. So what does that do to the table? We've talked about West Bowling being the team to get promoted. There's one heck of a race happening for that automatic promotion spot between Egremont and Heworth. At the moment, it's firmly in Egremont's hands. The level on points, 13 wins and 5 losses from 18 games, but the point difference is probably worth another point in its entirety, isn't it? So there's something like 70 plus points there in the point difference as far as Egremont are concerned. So if they match each other for results over the next 4 weeks, then it's going to be Egremont who'll take that spot, and Heworth will find themselves in the playoffs. But if there's any sort of slip up and Heworth get a better run of results, then they're going to be the team that's getting promoted to the to the Premier Division. And what a story that would be for them. You know, they climbed back into the National Conference 3 or 4 years ago, and they've just gone from strength to strength to strength to strength. They've got everything set up there for being a real top class, top level Premier Division side. They've got a stadium. It's not just a ground. Yeah. It's a stadium. They've got a stand. They've got some coverage there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward at some point to getting over there, taking some pictures, then I can show you, because I was impressed when I went over to Heworth a few years ago, and I think it's just gone from strength to strength. So, you know, well done to Heworth, well done to Egremont as well, but particularly well done to West Bowling for getting that promotion.
Yeah, very much so, very much so.
So the rest of the sides jockeying for position: Skirl with 20 points in 4th spot, Stanningley with 19 points in 5th, Ulton Raiders with 19 points in 6th. Crossfields, after that late surge, were looking likely of challenging for a playoff berth, now have it all to do with just 4 games remaining for them. It's still possible.
Yeah, it's not a mountain, but it's probably, you know...
it's not Everest yet, but it's kind of Ben Nevis, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a 3 peaks job.
That's where it's kind of getting. Right, so Division 2. Barrow Island 24, East Leeds 16, Currate Sutherland, Dutton Roscone and Burns going over for the tries. Sam Jones kicking 4 goals. I keep seeing this Dutton Roscone. I know that you've seen him, and he's a bit of a lively character at hooker, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely a player that I need to get on my radar, you know, because I keep talking about him. Very, very good. East Leeds, they had their issues once more. They travelled with just 15 players. Scored tries and kept this competitive, though. Thompson, Woofit and Maloney going in for the scores. Riley kicking 2 goals. They trailed by 18 points to 0 at half-time, so they definitely rallied in the second half. But ultimately, they're still rock bottom of the table. 4 points behind Milford. And 6 points behind Saddleworth, 7 points from safety with just 3 games left to go. So, no, they've got 5 games left to go. So they could still mathematically get themselves out of the situation, but it's another 3 peaks job looking likely for East Leeds. Elsewhere, Wigan St Jude's had a fantastic win on the road at Dewsbury Celtic, winning by 24 points to 22. Now, I've been reading, I've not had any messages from him, but there's a certain player called Danny Cassidy.
Oh yeah, our Dan.
Who scored a try, 2 tries, and kicked a goal for Wigan St Jude's.
Ah.
So I'm wondering whether he's ended up going back there.
From Crossfields.
From Crossfields. We need to confirm it. Danny, if you're listening and you listen to this, just drop us a quick message. We're just wanting to have a quick check-up on you, pal. No problem, though.
We could start a new range of books. You know the old Where's Wally books? We could start a Where's Danny books.
Oh, where's Danny? Where is he? No. I mean, he's a fantastic fella, isn't he?
Cracking boy.
And I hope that if that is Danny, the Danny that we know and we love, and that's a friend of the show, that he gets to be happy wherever he's playing his rugby, because that's the important thing, isn't it? When you're playing community rugby league, you've got to be happy. Yeah.
Because the end of the day, you've got to have that playing group that are not just playing on the field. That you've got, because it is the word community. I mean, you've got to be together off the field to a certain extent as well.
Definitely. So Dewsbury Celtic, they scored tries through Copley, Reitman, Mitchell and Hurst. Copley kicking 3 goals. He's another guy that we mention a lot on this show, isn't he? Harry Copley. It sounds like he's having one heck of a season for Dewsbury Celtic. And to be fair, when I saw Celtic earlier on in the year, he was pretty impressive at standoff. So who knows, perhaps he can push on in the future to even better things. For Wigan St Jude's, McNally and Brady also scoring tries. And they've almost had a period here of whoever's closest can have a go at goal, because Fallon kicked a goal, Rothwell kicked 2 and Cassidy kicked 1 goal. So St Jude's winning that one by 24 points to 22. It was all smiles down the road at Dewsbury. More Maroons, who accounted for Milford by 48 points to 18. James, Crossley, Barrett, Clarkson and Butterfield going over for a try each. J. Sam going over for 2. Berry scoring 2 as well. Foster kicking 6 goals. For Milford, Platts, Kaywood and Jones Bishop were the scorers, with Rooney also going over. Best, we spoke about him and his accurate goal kicking at times this season, only able to kick 1 goal on this occasion, so it finished 48 points to 18. Shawcross Sharks got a big win up at Myton Warriors, who've been kicking, and for me, this bottom of the table of Division 2 is warming up to a real treat. So Shawcross Sharks, they scored tries from Tomlinson, who kicked 5 goals and also scored 2 tries. Sedgwick scored. Howlett grabbed 2 tries, with the other drop goal going the way of Stevenson. Myton Warriors, they had a couple of tries from Slater. Brook also getting his name on the score sheet, with Walker kicking 2 goals. Interesting that Shawcross Sharks dropped a goal in the first half there. So quite often we see drop goals kicked at the end of games, don't we?
Yeah.
But sometimes there's just certain points in a game where you think, you know what, if this can be made at an odd point, we've got a real chance of going on here and really disrupting the opposition.
Yeah, very, very much. And I think you find out that happens a little bit later on. Oh,
right, okay. So, Waterhead Warriors 26, Salworth Rangers 12. Big derby happening over there near Oldham. So Waterhead having the better of it. Murphy, Hamilton, Thewlis, Dickinson and Young scoring their tries. Goal split between Dean and Hamilton. For Rangers, they had tries from England and a certain Chris Huff, who must be about for... I mean, I had the pleasure of commentating on Wayne English, who I think's a year younger than me. So I think he's, 43 years of age? There's also Sean Penkovic that's doing his stuff at the moment in his 40s. We spoke about Fui Moi turning out for Millham in his 40s. Dean Barmer from Lee Miners in his 40s. Chris Huff is another guy playing on in his 40s for Salworth Rangers. I remember him as a nippy scrum half that played for the likes of Swinton, Oldham. He had a stint on loan at Lee as well in the pro ranks. So it's nice when you get to see guys that are still strutting the stuff and playing at community level. So Huff scoring a try and kicking a goal. The other goal going the way of Whitehead. Waterhead got a lot of that job done in the first half. They were leading by 26 points to 6. And then we need that drum roll again, Steve.
We need that drum roll. I think it's this one, is it? That one.
That one. Because it was your game.
It certainly was, yeah. As I say, I turned left out of our drive. I went down to a Monk's Sports Club, which is not very far from where I am. I went down to watch the game, Woolston Rovers against Normanton Knights. One of the reasons that swayed me was, obviously, we spoke about Normanton Knights, quite a lot on the show. And I'd never actually seen them play, so I thought, get down there, assess them. It was a bit similar to when East Leeds were turning up. We'd seen them before, and I thought, obviously, cast an eye over these and see how they're going. Well, Woolston Rovers and Normanton Knights played out a thrilling encounter on Saturday afternoon, with the Knights coming out on top 12 points to 13. The game was evenly balanced for much of the first half, but both teams were reduced to 12 men on the 35-minute mark when Woolston's centre Cameron Davis was simbing for a swinging arm, and Normanton's fullback Connor Wilson followed him for a 10-minute sit-down after reacting to the challenge by Davis. It was Woolston who then brought the deadlock just before half-time, through a busy second row at Dan Fernley, with halfback Lawton adding the extras to make it 6-0. The Knights though hit back early in the second half, and on 51 minutes they levelled the score through prop Stuart Biscombe, who used his ample size and powered over. Standoff Jacob Crossland was on target with the extras, and it was he who pushed Normanton into the leads for the first time 10 minutes later, when he calmly put over a one-pointer to increase the score to 6 points to 7. And exactly as he said, Parky, that changed the dynamic of the game from Woolston being obviously in charge and in front at half-time, then suddenly being pulled back. And just that 1 point, it changed it ever so slightly. The game continued, and it continued at a frantic pace, with both teams having chances, but errors and solid defence kept the game evenly balanced. Woolston, though, looked to have won the game when centre Sam Vernon scored the third try on 64 minutes, and again the trusty boot of Lawton was on hand to increase the Woolston lead to 12 points to 7. This didn't deter the Knights, and on 77 minutes Woolstons were made to pay for some static defence. A scrum half Kieran Hinchcliffe cut through a gap to go in the left side of the post, giving Crossland the easiest of conversions to push them in front for 12 points to 13. But the drama was not over, as deep into injury time, pressure by Woolston saw Normanton stray offside and were penalised, and in the ensuing melee, Adam Biscombe, Charlie Barber and Connor Wilson were all dismissed by referee Highland for dissent. So halfback Craig Lawton, who'd had an absolutely stellar day with the boot, stepped up to try and snatch victory, but it was out on the touchline, and unfortunately his efforts went wide. So final score, Woolston Rovers 12, Normanton Knights 13. Man of the matches, we had, ironically, the players who, from a man of the match point of view, I'd sort of looked at them in the first half. They sort of got on my radar, and it was Dan Fernley who scored the try for one of the tries for Woolston. It was really good, really good. But props Stuart Biscombe. Oh, he was an absolute atom bomb. He drove it in. He took loads of bodies to slow him down. Obviously he scored, but his play was absolutely superb and more than deserved it. Got to give a mention to fullback who did get sent off at the end, Wilson, who he had a good game, and they will miss him. Obviously once the disciplinary comes around and we see how things are. And also the halfback who scored the goals, he put some absolutely towering bombs in.
Crossland.
Yeah, Jacob Crossland. Absolutely towering bombs in. Really, really good. And it was an absolutely really, really good match. Got a big hand to the officials because they handled what was a difficult. It wasn't ill-tempered at all. Mm-hmm. It was a tough match. It was a fair match. But obviously, right at the very end, there was understandably to a certain extent, it was frustrating because they defended very well. There was the chance, obviously, for Woolston to pinch it right at the end. But it was a tough kick, and it just went wide. But it was a great game to watch.
Is it one of those where both sides deserve to win in a way?
Yes, and if it had turned out to be a draw, it would have been fair. But the standard of play they put on, like you were saying earlier on, because the day it was a grim day, and it was on and off with drizzle throughout the day, but. The match is on YouTube. It's Normanton always put their games on there, and it's on there. And if you want to go and catch it, it's well worth a watch. So, turning left instead of going straight on, it certainly made the difference, and I really enjoyed it.
Now you've got me wondering, Steve, where else can you, if you go left, where else can you go and get to from your house?
Well, if you go a roundabout, actually, you can get to Latchford. If you go a little bit further on, which is obviously another one of the grounds that I like going to. The thing that was on about was because I actually was just checking my facts and figures because I'd not done some notes while I was there at the ground of obviously who the players were, and I jotted down the numbers.
Yeah.
So when I got to have a look at the team sheets afterwards, and I thought all the numbers, certainly in the 2, 3, 4, were all playing slightly different positions.
Okay.
Yeah. we had a prop who had a number 19 who actually was, I'm sure it was Adam Biscombe, who I might be wrong here, but they looked very much alike, so I'm sure him and obviously man at the match, Stuart, were brothers. But he had 18 on his back, and I was trying to work out why, and then he had 8 on his back and he played at 10. So I'm just thinking, do they do that on purpose to try and trick's the wrong word, isn't it? The opposition.
They shouldn't do, but I know from years at being at Lee East how I'd go into the dressing room.
That's my conspiracy theory, by the way.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So this is what used to happen when I was doing my role with Lee East. So I'd go into the dressing room probably like an hour before kick-off, and I'd see all the numbers, so I'd mark all the numbers down.
Yep.
And then I'd go to the coach and I'd say, right, who's playing where? And he'd point me in the right direction. And then I'd go back into the dressing room and the players were putting the kit on, just to make sure that I was putting the right numbers down. And I almost checked them off one by one. But it's amazing how many times 6 and 7 swap round between the warm-ups and going back out on the pitch to play.
Well, I'll give you. So you have 2, 3, 4, and 5 who actually were 5, 4, 3, and 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm looking at those and I'm thinking, why have they done this? And I'm trying to work out. And the only conspiracy theory I can come up with is they're doing it to try and show the other side, look at the numbers and think, that's the right centre or that's the left centre. Well, actually not. They're on the other way around. Yeah. I mean, it makes a difference because they could wear the right numbers but just line up in the different positions.
It certainly does, and certainly if you're commentating on the game, you just then go and
I can imagine
you just go and commentate on the numbers that you're given. To be fair, which is what had happened at the weekend. So I got the other centre who'd scored 2 tries for West Hull, and it's only later on when we was questioning it. And you know, again, I've got to thank Fiona over at West Hull, because if anything happens at that club, I'm on phone to Fiona. Yeah. I'm like ringing her up, and she straightens things out, you know. And then she did say though, she said, I'm surprised you didn't recognise the fellow that scored 2 tries, because he went to Ireland the other year with the England Community Lions. And I was like, yeah, I've seen about 200 matches since then though, to be honest, Fiona.
The other thing that did happen in that, which is not nice to see, but has got to be reported, I feel that referee Ireland had to go over to one of the spectators on the Woolston side and send him from the touchline because of things they were saying to the touch judge on that line. Correctly so at the end of the day. I don't know what was said, but as I said, the officials had a great match, stamped on everything. They weren't overly zealous or anything like that. They did the job efficiently and really, really good, I think. So
it sounds like an absolute thriller. And you'll be back again very soon from the sound of it.
It was worth the couple of quid that I paid to go in.
Division 3 also saw some crackerjack games as well, starting with Eastmoor Dragons, who lost by 20 points to 4 against Bentley, a result that keeps Bentley just ahead of Driglington and Eastmoor in a playoff position. Hensingham and Beverley fought out a 20-all draw. I should say the scorers here, shouldn't I, as well? So from Eastmoor Dragons, Allman scored their lone try, with tries going to Bentley for Smith, Coulton, Hall and Middleton. Goal split between Sykes and Craswell, who kicked 1 goal each. Hensingham 20, Beverley 20. Hensingham scoring tries through Coward, Bragg, Morgan and McGarry. 2 goals from the boot of Williamson. And for Beverley, it was Hardy, Hutchinson, Miller and Sims going over the line, with Dobson adding 2 goals. You couldn't split anything between those sides at half time either, to be fair. 12 points each. Up at Millham, they had a successful afternoon against Driglington. They led by 20 points to 0 at half time, and the Woolly-backs scoring tries through Wilson, Hodgson, Connor Terrell, who's back up there, scoring 2 tries, Harris and A. Sormaki. So you notice I didn't mention Herrero Sormaki. He's actually gone to play rugby union now over in Japan.
Yeah.
So, but his brother is still doing the business as he has done throughout the season. Good little player him as well. Postlethwaite kicking 3 goals. For Drig, they had tries from Hudson and Broadbent. Mark Sanderson kicking the goal there, but 30 points to 10 was the result. Oldham, St Anne's and Lee East played out an absolute humdinger in Oldham, with Lee East just coming out on top by 28 points to 22. As so often, the man of the moment, the man who he's such an exciting player to watch, Kieran Prescott, scored a hat-trick. Brilliant player, brilliant runner of the ball. Hughes and Ball also going in for Lee East. Wilkinson kicking 4 goals. While for St Anne's, they had a couple of tries from McGinnity, 1 each from Etchells and Aykroyd. Pogson kicking 3 goals. That's a real quality result, that. Unfortunately, Lee East can't get any higher than 3rd position unless something drastic happens in the last couple of matches that remain in the league. In that, so basically at the top, Oldham St Helens and Ellenborough Rangers have a 1-game shoot-off for who gets the championship. At the moment, you've got to fancy Oldham St Anne's. They've got just 5 points better in the point difference. So it's going to come down to the wire, isn't it? Absolutely down to the wire. Ellenborough, in 2nd position. Lee East in 3rd. Millham, they still have a slight chance of catching Lee East, but they've got to score about 100 points in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And not concede any. So you've got to fancy Lee East for finishing 3rd spot there. Beverley and Bentley are just ahead of Driglington and Eastmoor Dragons, Hensingham and Seaton Rangers at the bottom of that particular section. So that's the scoreboard as it stands from the National Conference League. A few games coming up this week. We've already hinted at the fact that there's a few midweek games. There's quite a few of these teams having catch-up games to play over the latter weeks of the season. It's going to get very, very interesting for some of these sides. So the game I'm hoping to get across to on Thursday evening is in the Premier Division, Lock Lane against Siddle. At the moment, with the way both of those sides are playing, this is a bit of a shootout again for a top 6 spot. I think the loser might have their hopes ended of getting in the top 6 for the season. In Division 1, there's an intriguing local derby between Crossfields and Clockface Miners, while in Division 2, Waterhead host East Leeds, Wigan St Jude's at home to Normanton Knights. I do know there's been some discussion being had about that particular fixture, but hopefully everything goes well with that on that particular night. And then on Friday evening, it's Wigan St Pat's against Rochdale Mayfield, so I fancy having that before I go to Wembley on the Saturday. Do you think I'm being a little bit too ambitious with some of these games?
But whatever I say to you, Parker, you'll go and watch what you want to watch.
I'll go and watch what I want anyway. But, to be fair, I'm just getting a second opinion, from someone who knows what a rugby league nut I am.
You'll probably get back from Wembley to watch Millham versus Eastmoor Dragons.
If only I could, but they're kicking off at 2:30. So by that stage, I know I'll be warming up for the Lee and OKR game, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. You'll have that shirt on?
Of course I'll have this shirt on. Yeah. This me leopard print. Right, so that's the National Conference League. That's the fixtures done and dusted. Let's have a bit of a look at who was playing who elsewhere. And we'll start, first of all, with the regional leagues. I fancy doing things a little bit different. Yeah. So it's going to be the Aberavon Fighting Irish and the South Wales Jets who will contest the grand final of the South Wales Men's League. This is going to happen on Saturday, August the 20th. Now, the Aberavon Fighting Irish, they beat reigning champions Ronda Outlaws 40 points to 10 in Saturday's semi-final, having only been in front by 16 points to 10 with 15 minutes left. Macaulay Harris bagged a brace for the Outlaws, who recovered from 12-0 down to trail only 12-10 at the break, with Chris Harris adding a conversion. But Aberavon progressed with the help of a hat-trick in the closing stages from Jack Davis, while Nathan Nanonio...
It's easy for you, sir.
That is a difficult name, actually. I might try that again. So, Nanthawat Nayonan. What are you thinking? I don't know. I'm going to go with that. So while Nanthawat Nanoan bagged a brace, and Yestin Williams-Jones and Connor O'Callaghan also dotted down. Aaron Lewis landed 4 goals, and Dylan Agar and O'Callaghan kicked a conversion apiece. The South Wales Jets' 100% record was maintained with a 35 points to 26 triumph over Bridgend Blue Bulls. The Jets sealed victory after the Bulls had recovered from 28-10 down to be only 6 points adrift, with a late touchdown by Matthew Jacobs, and Paul Emanuele kicked his 4th goal. He also added a field goal as well. So Bridgend, they notched a consolation try for Stuart Robson, while Dean Higgs, Alex Langworthy twice, Craig Lewis and Lewis Willacott had crossed earlier for the Jets, Mike Hurley improving 1 effort. The Bulls had posted tries for Dylan Rees-Davis, Reese Thomas, Llewellyn Hawkes and Dylan Rees-Davis, 3 of which Corey Harris converted. I do love the fact that I'm mentioning some of these guys, and because of the fact that I've seen some of the Welsh teams and Welsh rep teams play over recent seasons, I recognise some of the names there. So Llewellyn Hawkes, he's played in the under-19s for Wales over recent seasons. Paul Emanuele used to play at the West Wales Raiders. And I also recognise Mike Hurley, having played for the West Wales Raiders as well. So it's nice that a couple of these lads, they're still performing, aren't they? They've gone back to play amateur rugby league, which is full of credit to them. So other results from elsewhere in the London Premier Division. We have Brixton Bulls 2, London Chargers 8-4. That's got to go down as the lowest scoring game of the week, wow. That one. Medway Dragons 22, West Warriors 8-20. And then from the East of England Premier Division, Hemel Stags 12, Anglian Vipers 52. What a season they are having in the second year in existence. Well done to the lads over there at Anglian Vipers. While in the Midlands Premier Division, Telford Raiders 24, Leamington Royals 10, Birmingham Bulldogs 24, Oxford Cavaliers 0. In the Merit League, Boston Buccaneers 10, Sherwood Wolfhunt 8-40. And in the South West League, Tenbridge Trojans 24, Tarka Storm 0. So that's the regional leagues. A bit of a truncated programme as well in the Northwest men's competition. So it all kicked off last Friday in Division 1, Salford City Roosters 0, Folly Lane 18, and then in Division 3 on that same evening, Waterhead Warriors A24, West Bank Bears 4, and in Division 4 there was also action on Friday evening, Wigan Springview A42, Culcheth Eagles 12. On Saturday, you might have a couple of different results here. I've got Hurstfinch 26, Orrell St James 16. No result between Halton Farmouth Hornets and Shevington Sharks. I think there's got to be a result there somewhere, to be fair. So, whilst you're digging around looking for that one, I'll move on to... What
division was that, Parker?
That was Premier Division, that. Halton Farmouth Hornets against Shevington Sharks. Division 1, that saw Dalton 24, Canized Rhinos 0. Wigan St Cuthbert's 36, Ulverston 10. In Division 2, Ashton Bears A24, Woolston Rovers 0, Burton Woodbridge 40, Hinepool Tigers 0.
Tell you a little tale about that game. Hinepool Tigers,
right?
Whoever organises their coach for travelling, obviously from Hinepool to wherever they're going, forgot to organise a coach to get them to Burton Wood. Give all the lads the due and supporters. They all turned up, and obviously the match was played. So you've got to say big raps to everybody there, players, supporters, etc.
So what did they do? Just jump in the cars?
In the
come
cars,
down in a convoy?
Yeah. So hats off to them. And when we talk about games not being completed, and obviously distances being travelled, etc. That is take your hats off there to Hinepool.
In Division 3, Rochdale Hornets 10, Garswood Stags 26. And Division 4, this one sounds like it was a humdinger, Bolton 19, Runcorn Highfield 28.
That was, I was looking, I was reading on Twitter from Runcorn Highfield, and they said that was a rural game. I mean, considering what they've been doing this season, they've been blowing a lot of sides away, and obviously possibly on the cards when you saw that fixture last week, it could have been sort of like on a hiding this week, and it wasn't. It was it was a tough game. It was a tough game.
Tough game here as well. Lee East A34, Wigan St Jude's A4, and the other result, Oldham St Anne's A24, Ince Rosebridge A0. Can I come back to the Premier Division? Was there a result between Halton Falmouth Hornets and Shevington?
I'm still trying to find that part here. I just I can't see anything.
So I wonder whether that game got called off. I'll run through the fixtures anyway for next week. So as this show is going out, we've got Banky Bulls up against Bolton. We've got on Thursday in the Premier Division, Ashton Burrs against Oral St James. That's one to savour, isn't it? On Thursday evening. In Division 2 that same night, Lee Miners Rangers A are up against Burton Wood Bridge. And then on Friday evening, Thatto Heath Crusaders A are taking on Wigan Springview. Division 4 sees Garswood Stags Reserves up against Preston and South Ribble Rabbitohs. And on Saturday, just the 3 fixtures to tell you about. In Division 1, Charlie Panthers are up against Ulverston. Roosh Pioneers travel over to Highpool Tigers. Higginshaw are up against Rochdale Hornets.
Alton Falmouth against Shevington Sharks. It was Alton Falmouth Hornets 30, Shevington Sharks 6.
Whoa, so that's a big result as well, isn't it?
There,
yeah, so it just shows that when they put the mind to it and when they get when they're able to name a strong team, Alton Falmouth Hornets are as good as any at the top end of that division, aren't they? Right, before we look at the Yorkshire Men's League, I want to run through what's been going on in Cumbria. So, the results from the Holman Eagleson Premier Division last time out, last Friday evening. Wathbrow Hornets 18, Cockermouth Titans 10. Wathbrow were up by 18 points nil at half time, thanks to tries from Liam Mattinson, Jack Casey and Kevin Christian. Conversions going the way of Jensen Alstrom with 2 and Devon Sharp, who's been starring for the England Community Lions under 18s this season. He also kicked a goal for Cockermouth. Their tries went the way of Seamus Hutton and Ryan Scott, with Ryan Scott kicking a goal. Up at Egremont, it was Egremont A16, Kells A46. Half time, what a first half from Kells A this was. They led by 32 points to 4. Kells with their tries courtesy of Casey Chambers, who grabbed 2, Ashton Syce scored 2, Jamie Jennings, Jordan Cunningham, Stephen Nelson, Jake Parker, Nathan Clark also going over the line, Kieran Fleming kicking 6 goals. For Egremont, they were well served by Sam Williams. He added one of their 3 tries, the others going the way of Jack Pay and Lewis Park. Caden Block kicking 2 goals. Action then moved over to Saturday afternoon. Maryport 6, Dissington 40. Dissington led by 18 points to 0 at half time. The second half, the lone try from Maryport going the way of Joel Baker. That was converted by Blake Miller, but Dissington way too strong on the afternoon. Jaden Hewer with 2 tries, Matt Hewer with a score, Jack Worthington, Scott Rook, Lewis Whitehead and Jack Penrice, the other try scorers. Conversions going the way of Stephen Clark, who kicked 6. Unfortunately, Hensingham couldn't raise a side to go over to Glasson, so the game was awarded in that one to Glasson by 24 points to 0. And if a look at what we've got going on this coming weekend in the Cumberland Leagues and the Holman Eagleson Cumberland League, it's Egremont Rangers A up against Wathbrow Hornets A. Kells A at home to Hensingham A. And then on Saturday, you've got Louker against Glasson Rangers, Cockermouth Titans up against Ellenborough Rangers A, and that's your fixtures for Cumbria. Moving over to the Yorkshire Men's League. And last Friday evening, it was Alton Raiders 36, York Acorn 0. On Saturday in the Premier Division, it was Brighouse Rangers 1, Westgate Common 64.
Wow.
I wonder when that one came.
We said that last week, if I remember.
Yeah, we did. Keighley Albion, this is in Division 1, of course. Keighley Albion 44, Nottingham Outlaws 12, Cutsyke Raiders 16, Ossett Trinity Tigers 22. Your action in Division 2, well, that's our Queensbury host Wibsey Warriors. Wibsey getting out on top in that one by 18 points to 4. Greetland All-Rounders 0, Mould Green 24. Odsal, Sedberg and Illingworth was called off, unfortunately. And in Division 3, we saw Seacroft Sharks 12, Castleford Panthers 10. I said that would be a close one, didn't I? Last week, if I remember rightly. In Division 4A, Batley Boys 12, York St John Barbarians 20, Westgate Common A 18, Bramley Buffaloes 70. They've been putting some points on over recent weeks, haven't they, Bramley Buffaloes? Division 4B, well, that saw Keighley Albion Academy 6, Birkenshaw Blue Dogs 58. And in Division 4C, unfortunately, Dearne Valley Bulldogs against Upton was called off. And I've not got a result for Dodworth Miners against Derby Elks.
It was Dodworth Miners 52, Derby Elks 18.
Ooh, cracking result that for Dodworth Miners. While we're on about no results then, was the one in Division 2 for Bradford Dudley Hill against Kirkburton Cougars.
Yes, there was Bradford Dudley Hill 56, Kirkburton Cougars 6.
And then NCL East, have you got a result between Heworth and Hunslet, ARLFC? The other result there in that division was Bentley 0, Loch Lane 24.
Yeah, it was Heworth 6, Hunslet ARLFC 36.
And I've also not got a result in the Hull division between Myton Warriors and Hull Dockers. The other game that I have got a result for, West Hull 20, Cottingham Tigers 28.
Yeah, I don't think that other one must have gone ahead because there's no result down.
No problem. And in the NCL West, Milford 0, Shawcross Sharks 24. Your fixtures this coming weekend: on Friday evening in Division 2, it's Greetland All-Rounders up against Queensbury. On Saturday in the Premier Division, Almondry Spartans host Westgate Common. In Division 1, Cutside Raiders travel over to Hull Wyke. Division 2 sees Odsal Sedberg up against Illingworth. Kirkburton Cougars hosting Greetland All-Rounders. And Division 3, just the one game to tell you about, Sherburn Bears hosting Underbank Rangers. Division 4, also with just one game in the calendar, Bramley Buffaloes at home to York St John Barbarians. And Division 4C, that saw the Dearne Valley Bulldogs up against the Derby Elks. And in the NCL East, we have Alton Raiders up against Bentley. So, you know, despite there being a bit of Challenge Cup action, there's a bit of community rugby around, isn't there?
Yeah, like we were saying, you know, there's quite a few games to catch up on, and there's a chance for that to happen. I'm surprised no games get played on Sundays. Or there's very few games get played on Sundays.
You think it'd be a perfect time, wouldn't you? You know, to maybe do it. Although, can you imagine some of these lads having to get back up for work and stuff? At least if they're playing on a weekend, maybe they're not playing over that weekend.
Yeah, but there's the same argument about playing on a midweek, isn't there? Mm-hmm. So
there is really. Yeah. You know, I'm playing devil's advocate there a little bit. Now, one guy that we always love speaking to here on the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show is Paul Couch. Currently the head coach, I should say, of Loch Lane. He's also the head coach of the Open Age of the Community Lions, the England Community Lions programme, and he had some news for us. So he's been appointed as the Under-23s England Community Lions coach for the 3 games that they've got coming up at the end of the season. They're playing against Wales twice, home and away, and an away match in Ireland. I caught up with him the other evening, and this is our conversation as we discuss the squad that has been selected. Okay, so as you know, here on the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show, we like keeping up with the way that the Community Lions are shaping up. I'm delighted to be joined by Open Age coach Paul Couch on the other end of the line. And Paul, it's an interesting end to the season, this, isn't it? I know that we're going to be talking about the under-23s because a squad's been named for 3 internationals that we've got coming up.
Yeah, it is. It's some good times to be looking at some new and some old players in the 23s this time.
Now, I'm quite pleased because from this list of 20 players, I think I've seen 15 of them play in the last 2 years, which, to be honest, says more probably about my rugby league habits than anything else, doesn't it, I think? Yeah,
and I know quite a few of them have been involved around an under-16s or an under-19s level. Some actually played for me last year in the under-23s, but it's a good opportunity to look at them all again in in a different environment.
It's quite encouraging, that, isn't it? You know, that lads have been through this system and they're still involved with it and they're still getting picked up from it.
Yeah, it shows it works. It shows what we have in place. What we have in place now, whether they're playing for Tom in the under-16s or they're playing for Gary in the under-17/18s, that they're getting the same kind of coaching, the same kind of system that's being run as well. So, and then if they are ready to step up to the 23s, stroke open age, then they are ready to do it.
How did you get your selections done? Was it through the process of like trials?
Yeah, the open age trials. So we asked regional. So we had one in Yorkshire, Lancashire, and Cumbria. We did have somebody come from down south as well. But we've just whittled it down, and the lads that stood out for us in the 23s bracket got selected for this squad.
I mean, looking at the squad, there's 8 or 9 Cumbrians in there, isn't there? And I remember having a chat with Gary a few years ago. He said you can never pick enough Cumbrians, but I think part of that was down to the fact that he's a Cumbrian himself, isn't he? So
yeah, he's a little bit biased, is Gary, when it comes to that. But no, it is something that we spoke about when we picked the final squad. But last year, I think I had 6 or 7 Cumbrians as well in the squad last year. So it just shows that what they're doing up there from a youth point of view is working.
Definitely. If I can just run through a couple of the names and you can tell me sort of how they went in the trials. I mean, certainly from a league point of view, standing out for Ellenborough this year has been Owen Hoyles. A standoff stroke scrum half who he can kick the ball so well and kicks goals for fun, doesn't he, for Ellenborough? Yeah,
I've kept a little bit of an eye on Owen because he was with us in the 23s last year, and then his points scoring pretty good in that division, and he trialled really well when we were up at Cumbria. He looked pretty sharp and he looked switched on.
And then, of course, some people will probably be aware, if they follow the Community Rugby League like I do, Brodie Lee Butler for Ince Rose Bridge, he's been going particularly well in the Armed Forces sides, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's been a couple of Armed Forces players that have trialled and really stood out, and Brodie was one of them. And we spotted him pretty early, and I've been to watch quite a few of the Armed Forces games when they've been playing students and teachers.
And then, it's nice to welcome Ellison Holgate back into one of these squads because he can be such an electric player, can't he?
Yeah, Ellison's a very good player. Sadly missed out last year on a 23s, but this year we felt he needed to feature in it, and yeah, a really exciting player. I like Ellison. He's a really good player and good attitude about him as well.
And another one of these guys that shows that basically you're looking everywhere when you have one of these sort of trials or one of these series of trials. Joseph Heaton from Hindley.
Yes, yeah. Joseph, another one that stood out. In the trials, and that's all we asked for the players when the trial did that they were noticeable. You haven't got long to prove yourself, and this young lads took his opportunity.
And I know when you're also thinking of one of these squads and there's only 20, then you're after a number of things, really, aren't you? You're after sort of how they communicate. You sort of like after do they do and get involved, like you were saying. You don't want any drinking violets, really, do you?
No, you don't, and also the lads need to be good off the field as well, with a good attitude, because we're taking them away to Ireland and to Wales. So they'll be spending nights away. So we don't really want to be worried about them off the field. We want to be really concentrating on the jobs on the field.
It's a really good prospect, isn't it? Playing against all the other home nations later on in the year.
Yeah, it's something for the lads to look forward to after the final games of the season. But it's something for them to kick on as well, because we've said about the process coming from 16s to 19s to 23s, but then the next step for them is open age. So this is where they need to be.
And did I read right that it's going to be sort of the weekend of the 14th, the 21st and the 28th of October for these matches?
Yeah, it's Wales at home on the 14th, and then the week after that we travel to Ireland, and then the week after that we travel to Wales to play Wales again.
Excellent. I can tell from your voice you're looking forward to it yourself, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, it's been a long season with my community club, and this is something I'm looking forward to at the end of the season.
I can imagine it being quite a strange one for yourself as well, because you was appointed as the open age coach, and you find yourself not with an open age sort of set of games, really, do you, to prepare for? So this is good for you to get involved and to have that sort of involvement.
Yeah, this was always the plan for me, to work with the 23s, for me to get a good look at them going forward for an open age point of view. And it's I obviously did the 23s last year, but was officially appointed this year as the open age coach.
And I know you've already said it, but how's sort of this year gone for you? What have you enjoyed most, and what's been kind of frustrating, if you like?
From a community club,
well, I suppose from both, really, because I mean, a lot of people listening to this, that maybe there were already that your club has started advertising for a new head coach for next season. Yeah,
that's going to be tough when it comes to the end of this year. 6 years at Loch Lane as head coach, but 30 years through as a player and as a coach. It'll be tough when it comes to that last game of the season, but I think the club needed a change. I think I needed a change as well. And like I say, it's a long time, it's 6 years, and it needs freshening up a little bit at Loch Lane, on and off the field. And that's what when I spoke to chairman at the start of this year, that was planned to do that.
And so there's so many exciting things with this programme as well, though, isn't there, for you to get your teeth into, I suppose?
Yeah, there is. It'll give me time to go out and watch other games, and not just be able to watch what have been this year Premier games. It'll be a good opportunity to watch Division 1, 2, 3 next year as well.
Who knows as well? Perhaps there's a spot on our league coming up later as well.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I might say that. Maybe I might jump on there at some point with it as well.
I know I jested, but obviously those games have proved a good thing for you as well, haven't they? To get to watch what's happening wider.
Yeah, I know I've been in contact with you a few times about getting the links for our league app, but also listening to this show as well helps when you're reading out the stats and you're reading out the try scorers. It does help massively. I'm
glad that we sound like we know what we're talking about, to be honest,
Paul. Yeah,
definitely. Paul, I know there's sort of lots and lots of things that we could discuss, and certainly looking at this squad, I really like the look of this squad, to be honest. It looks a very balanced squad. It looks, very strong and a great split between forwards and backs. And I suppose what different players will bring to the party as well, because you've got someone like Aaron Turnbull, who's, very, very mobile. You've got like Rio McQuiston and Jack Newbegin, who stood out in Italy last year for the under-19s, and then the likes of Conor Graney, who came through that system, went right the way through from under-16s, if I remember rightly. So it's good that he's still, coming off the back of a strong season with Lee East as well, for example. And then all those Hunslet lads who've just been tremendous.
Yeah, like I said, it shows that the system works, that there's still lads that have come from a 16s all the way through to 23s. But then going back to the Hunslet lads, I'm really looking forward to seeing Dargan play with the 23s. He's scoring a lot of points in a very good team at the minute that are playing very well. So there's quite a number of people that I'm looking forward to watching, and hopefully they can move on and get the opportunity to play open age at some point.
Yeah, I certainly hope so as well, Paul. Thank you so much for your time this evening, and I look forward to having another catch up with you soon, mate.
No problem. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Always great to hear from Paul. Spoke really, really well there too, and good to hear that he's concentrating on looking forward and an interesting end to the season with Loch Lane. And interesting to also see as well that they're advertising for his replacement for next season. He was saying that he's been there as a coach for 6 years. He's been involved at the club for 30 years in total. That's one heck of a stint, isn't it?
Yeah. And then his heart's with the club, isn't it? We were talking last week, weren't we, about people staying at clubs and being part of clubs, not just for the rugby, but for the fact that it's it's a community. There's friends, etc. You grow up, as part of that community. Rugby is just a secondary thing to it to a certain degree, and it sounds like that's what it's been with Paul, and I'm sure moving forward. I mean, even though he's moving on to different things, he's still going to be a part of the club. You just know that, don't you?
But it was really interesting to hear him talking about. With great enthusiasm again for the under-23s. It was a mantle that he took on last year as well, if I remember, at the end of the season when they played against Wales at quite short notice. And a few of the lads he's called up once more.
Yeah.
But let's go through this squad in full. So there's Jack Newbegin and our good friend Rio McQuiston that I've got in the squad from Millham. Morgan McCourt from Woughborough Hornets has earned a call-up alongside Sam Appleby of Egremont Rangers. Jake Pearce is in there once again from Woughborough Hornets. Ellison Holgate is back for selection. He's been in some tremendous form this season, alongside Noel Branthwaite for Hensingham. And Jack Kellett as well, who's we talked about versatile performers. I think I'm right in thinking Jack, over the course of the last couple of years, has played centre, standoff, scrum half, hooker and loose forward for Hensingham. So he's a versatile performer.
Yeah, and that's what you want, don't you? As we said, I mean, if you've got somebody like that who can play a couple of positions, it's great. If you've got somebody who's so versatile, that helps out immensely. And from his point of view as well, that gives him more chance of slotting in somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
As well?
Yeah. It's great to have that utility tag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite often it's seen in the professional game as a bit of a curse, isn't it? Because you get some lads who they never actually settle in a position, so you don't know what the best position is because they keep getting moved around. But from a community point of view, and if you're thinking of a squad moving forward into a load of games, he's the perfect guy, isn't he? Because
very much so.
He can handle so many different sort of bits of the game, if you like. Also in the squad is Aaron Turnbull from Egremont, Owen Hoyles, who we've spoken about all season on the show from Ellenborough Rangers, Josh Parker, who I saw last week play for York Acorn. He's another guy that's got a bit of utility value about him. He can play at full-back and in the centres as well, so offers something there. Then the young second row Callum Rogers from Ince Rose Bridge, alongside Brodie Lee Butler, his teammate for Ince Rose Bridge. But Brodie Lee has been absolutely spectacular playing for the Navy over recent seasons. So I'm really pleased that he's got this opportunity to play and test himself at Lions level, to be fair as well. Also, I mentioned it in the interview that it just shows that they're always looking at other players as well. So getting a call up is Joseph Heaton from Hindley, playing in the North West Men's League. So you look at the rest of the squad and you're thinking, these are all guys that are playing National Conference League, but it doesn't mean that they're not looking. And the selection process isn't there for other players from other divisions to come through either.
And I agree, because we've spoke certainly, there's 3 teams there at the top of North West Men's, at the very least. We're talking Orrell St James, we're talking Hurst Finch and Ashton Burrs. 3 teams there. Their teams could, fare reasonably well in the NCL, so they've got players who are capable of that standard.
Yeah. So it's a good news story that for Joseph Eaton from Hindley getting in. Conor Graney is in the squad from Lee East. He's had a top season this year.
Yeah.
He's a guy that we've spoken to on the show and I know quite well. So I'm glad that he's had a really good campaign and has solidified it really with another call up to another Lions squad. Then we've got 4 players coming in from Hunslet. So Jack Briggs, Harry Dodd, Tyler Dargan, who we've spoken about as scoring tries, and Maurice Camano, who this time last year was playing for East Leeds. So it just shows that he's stepped through and he's doing really well for Hunslet. And the one player we haven't mentioned yet, Harvey Stevens from Alton Raiders. Now, I counted 10 Cumbrians in that squad, which is fantastic because Cumbrians are great at chatting.
That's what we like. That's what we like, don't we?
We like that. Yeah. So
they're not bad at playing rugby as well.
They're great.
Let's be fair.
They're great at playing rugby as well. But they're fantastic when you get a few of them in the squad.
Yeah.
I can
that's
say
what you
that.
need. Yeah. But that's what you need, don't you? We were on about sort of building that team. And community, and it's not just on the field; it's off the field. This is the type of scenario where that is really important, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. We've got 4 lads in from northwest sides, and then the remaining 6, coming from Yorkshire. But again, you've got to take your hat off to Hunslet in providing 4 of those players, haven't you?
Yeah. Certainly have. What was the lineup of the fixtures again, Parker?
So, I didn't mention the fixtures actually. So I'm glad that you sort of reminded me.
It's interesting me now.
So I didn't leave it hanging there. Yeah. So the first fixture is going to be taking place on the 14th of October. Now that's a date that you might think, that's an interesting date, because it's the date of the Super League Grand Final.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that's in and around that time.
So I can imagine that being a morning kick-off. Unfortunately, it's a game that I'm not going to be at because the National Conference League are also hosting the awards lunch ahead of the Grand Final. So that's being done at Old Trafford Cricket Ground.
Oh, yeah.
So looking forward to that. I believe Trevor's lined me up for a bit of a speaking role at it. So I can't be in 2 places at once. I've tried. I've tried to be in 2 places at once. And if I could, I've already joked with other people around rugby league circles, if I could find a way to clone myself and met 3 of me, then we'd cover rugby league, no problem. What do you reckon?
Love it. Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Not in that leopard print shirt, though.
Listen, just because you can't wear this lovely leopard print.
Thank God.
The other fixtures, by the way. So so that's against Wales on the 14th. I'd imagine it'd be somewhere within pretty easy driving distance of Manchester.
Yeah.
I'd suggest that, but I haven't got a venue for it, and just at the moment that hasn't been released. The other fixtures, on the 21st of October, sees the under-23s go over to play Ireland over in Dublin.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, they're away at Wales.
Yeah.
So that's on the Saturday, the 28th of October. So those are the 3 fixtures that have been announced. There's still some other fixtures to come as well from under-16s or under-18s level as well in the next few weeks. So we'll drop in and see how those sides are preparing for those as well.
It would also be interesting if we really get the teams, certainly for the Welsh squad, because I'm sure there'll be a few from NCL, etc., who've got Welsh background that'll be
potentially. I mean, I know last year they played against the Dragonhearts, and to be honest, a lot of those Dragonheart players actually came from Wales. Actually were playing the rugby in the Wales divisions.
Which is correct. I think that's right. Don't get me wrong.
So it will be interesting. You're quite right, and obviously when we do get that information. Come on, Steve. I've only just got the England one. You can't expect the Earth already. You always ask for more. This is why I need to clone myself.
The other thing as well, having watched the Galway Tribesmen, was it last season when they played Pilks?
It's about 3 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago? And obviously the Dublin Exiles, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. At Oral St James. There's a good wrath of players there as well who will put up a good show, and I'm sure there's others as well from an Ireland point of view.
I mean, certainly I do know that there's some work that's been being done from from Jed and his team.
Yeah.
You know, from an Irish point of view, with the under 16s and under 18s players.
Yeah.
Because obviously a little bit later in the year they're going to be playing against England as well at both of those levels. So it's interesting that, you know, they have got together and that there's some work starting to be done there. But it's an exciting time of year, isn't it? So not only are we building up to our first final that we're going to be broadcasting, fingers crossed, hoping everything works on Saturday.
Not only broadcasting live from Wembley.
Broadcasting live and exclusively from Wembley.
Yeah.
Let's get it right. Exclusively. Keep an eye on all our socials, and we'll get that advertised as well. But we're getting to an exciting end of the National Conference League season. Really exciting end as far as the other divisions are concerned in Yorkshire men's, North West men's, Cumbria, and from the sounds of it as well, we've got an interesting Welsh final on the line, haven't we? So I've seen that you've been busily looking at your phone there, and what you've just passed to me is an interesting list of fixtures slated for Saturday the 19th of August. We've got regional finals involving Telford Raiders against the Birmingham Bulldogs to be played at Leamington Royals Rugby Club at 3 o'clock on the 19th of August. We've got the East of England's men's league final between Bedford Tigers A and the Anglian Vipers being played at Hemel Stag's Pennine Way Ground with a 2:30 kick-off. And we've got the London's Men's League final being played at London Scholars, again with a 2:30 kick-off on Saturday the 19th of August. And that sees Medway Dragons against the London Chargers A-side. Interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
So everything's getting to a head now, isn't it?
It nearly passed me by on Twitter. I saw, because it's the banners I usually look out for, because obviously if I see any of the banners for those areas, I know it's either going to be a result or it's going to tell me a fixture. And there was 3 on there. I thought, So I thought I will save that on my phone, because I know I hadn't seen it anywhere else, not in the press or anything that we usually get our information from. Yeah.
So of any of those games that I've mentioned, midweek ones, did he entice you? You know, are you going to turn left or turn right or just sit in your main room?
Well, actually, I will be going straight on Thursday, because I'll be going watching a different sport on Thursday, because I'm going down to Edgbaston.
Really?
And I'm going to watch the...
Don't tell me that the Midlands Hurricanes are playing down there or something.
That's the one, yeah, at Edgbaston. No, I'm going watching the 100. Last year I went down to Lords to watch a game there. It's a great event. I mean, it's something that a lot of sports need to look at, I think, with regards to being able to promote their sport to possibly a different audience. Whether it's something rugby needs to look at, with regards to maybe a sevens or a nines tournament in the sort of format that they do it. I mean, obviously it gets great coverage on Sky and BBC as well, which is great.
Take some notes, bring them back to us for next week, because we'll have had the Wembley final obviously there as well, and we'll have had the final that we're going to be commentating on too.
So there's a lot of things going on.
There's loads and loads of things going on. Right, Steve, thank you ever so much again for all your assistance and your help.
No problem, mate. No problem at all.
It's been an absolute delight once again to bring this show to you. I can't wait to step into Wembley and get the chance to broadcast and bring you coverage of the Inspire Champion Schools final, Year 7's final this Saturday is between Bedford High School and Archbishop Sentamu Academy. 10:10 is the time on Saturday morning when that is set to be played out. I'm hoping that I can get everything connected up and be set in place 5 minutes before kick-off, and I want you to join me. It's going to be 20 minutes each way, 5 minutes for half-time. We're going to have an absolute blast if it works. And we'll be back again next week to discuss everything else.
Yeah, the other thing is as well, if I'm not wrong, I think there's a message board on there. So if you want to get involved on the message board and drop any of your comments down when Parky's doing his commentary, anything you want to ask him that he can maybe sort of fill you in with, or even just wish him good luck, because as I say,
I'm going to need it.
It's a biggie for us. It's absolutely massive for us as obviously as two guys who just love the sport. bringing you something different, because that the sport allows, and hopefully this will then help us branch out into other things as well.
We'll be back again next week to discuss everything else that we've mentioned, but do enjoy your weekend wherever it takes you. I'm off to go and wash this leopard print and wear it again on Saturday.